thought...
And is undergoing chemotherapy there.
Hey there, my little love.
Mommy!
Zoe hugs Max and looks gratefully at the nurse.
Luna, thank you for taking such good care of Max. Are you the only one on duty today? Where are the other nurses?
Nurse Luna pointed down the hall to a group of nurses peeping around the corner.
They are all gawking at the new brain surgeon who just joined. He is just gorgeous.
Zoe's heart suddenly pounded louder as she heard the words, brain surgeon.
I mean, even his voice is sexy. He's one of Phoenix's most eligible bachelors. I heard his family is so loaded. I don't think we'd stand a chance with him. I'm sure he only dates women from the right kind of family.
Zoe was suddenly filled with an overwhelming fear that she had felt 4 years earlier.
Could it be... him?
Zoe stifled a yawn as she finished her meeting and walked out of her boss, Talon Taylor's office. She hadn't slept well last night. Nurse Luna's words yesterday about being a part of the right kind of family had dredged up memories that Zoe preferred to keep buried, and she had tossed and turned all night. When Courtney saw Zoe approaching, she leapt up and handed Zoe's phone to her.
Oh, good. There you are. Zoe, your phone has rung more than 10 times in a row. Someone needs to talk to you.
Is it the hospital calling?
Zoe asked her anxiously, dropping her drawings on the desk and quickly taking the phone from Courtney.
No, don't worry. I checked. If it had been the hospital, I would have come and gotten you.
Zoe unlocked her phone. She let out a long sigh of relief. It was just Linda. She was her younger sister Ziva's best friend. She quickly called Linda back. Linda picked up on the first ring.
Oh, Zoe, thank God you called back.
Linda, what's going on? Is something wrong? Did something happen?
It's Ziva. She fell down the stairs and almost killed herself.
Linda's words exploded in Zoe's mind like a bomb.
But don't worry, Zoe. Ziva will be fine.
Linda added, trying to reassure her. Linda's 2 sentences made Zoe feel like she was on a roller coaster. Zoe patted her chest to try to settle her rapidly beating heart. She nervously asked Linda,
How badly is Ziva hurt?
We already took her to the hospital. The doctors said her injuries weren't a big problem, but Ziva's broken her leg and had a slight concussion.
What? And this is not a big problem? Which doctor said that?
Ziva's attending doctor said that.
Forget it. Which hospital are you guys at? I'll come over right away.
Zoe said, already starting to pack up her things.
St. Mary's.
Okay, I'm on my way.
Zoe hung up and quickly filled Courtney in on what had happened and asked her to tell the boss why she'd left early. Once Zoe was in her car, she called Linda back on the speaker. Something didn't feel right.
Okay, Linda, tell me what's really going on.
Going on? What do you mean, Zoe?
Tell me the truth, Linda, the full truth. What did you mean when you said earlier that Ziva killed herself?
The younger woman sighed.
Okay, it's like this. Ziva didn't fall down the stairs. She deliberately threw herself down the stairs. She wanted to injure herself, but she didn't want to die.
Linda explained.
Is my sister insane?
Zoe angrily shouted.
She fell in love with a brain surgeon that works at St. Mary's Hospital, but he always ignores her. Ziva wanted to get admitted to the hospital, so he would have to pay attention to her.
Linda explained.
Brain surgeon? Was this the same handsome brain surgeon that the nurses have been talking about last night?
Zoe, I told her I thought she was crazy, but you know how Ziva is. She wouldn't listen.
Linda added.
What was she thinking?
Zoe shouted, trembling with anger.
She could have died. Ziva doesn't need a brain surgeon, she needs a shrink. She's nuts.
The moment Zoe entered Ziva's hospital room, she angrily threw her purse onto the bedside table and glared at her sister, her arms folded across her chest. Ziva's leg was in a cast, and there was a large bandage on her forehead.
Ziva, you have some serious explaining to do.
Hi, sis. It really hurts.
Ziva's eyes were red as she looked at the furious Zoe. She was trying to look pitiful to gain sympathy, but Zoe wasn't having it.
Good. You deserve it for doing something so stupid. And that too, over a man?
She looked at her sister's battered body. Her heart hurt, but Zoe's mouth scolded.
To risk your life over some guy, it's absurd.
As she spoke, Zoe grabbed the water pitcher off the table.
You're out of water. I'll go and get you some more.
Zoe walked out of Ziva's room. She didn't care about the water pitcher. Zoe was just so angry she needed a moment alone to calm down. She turned right and walked down the hall to the nurse's station to ask for more water. While she waited for the nurse to fill the water pitcher, Zoe took some deep breaths to soothe herself. Seeing the visitor's coffee station nearby, Zoe walked over to fix herself a cup. She was going to need caffeine to deal with her sister. Stirring in the sugar, Zoe glanced up and froze. She was staring at a man's back. He was tall, with broad shoulders and dark hair. He wore a white doctor's coat, and his hands were casually in his pockets. Zoe stood frozen as she watched the man round the corner and disappear from view. No, it couldn't have been him, Zoe thought. Why would he be here in Phoenix? He lived in Scottsdale. Zoe shook her head. No, this was just her mind playing tricks on her, because Zoe had been thinking about Blaine after what Luna had said last night. She needed to get a hold of herself. Zoe finished making her coffee and, after thanking the nurse for the water, walked back to her sister's room. Entering the room, Zoe set the water pitcher down on the counter, her back to the bed.
Any dizziness or nausea?
A deep male voice asked. Zoe's heart stopped. It was him. She would know that voice anywhere. Her chest tightened, and she forgot to breathe as she turned around.
My stomach is better.
Ziva smiled as she answered the doctor's question. She glanced over at Zoe by the door.
Sis, why are you just standing there? Come on in.
Blaine was busy checking Ziva and didn't turn around. He bent over and aimed a small light into Ziva's eyes.
Any double vision?
Maybe, a little.
Seeing the dazed Zoe still staring at Blaine's back, Ziva jokingly called out again.
Sis, what are you doing? What are you staring at?
Blaine still did not look back. Gathering herself, Zoe finally spoke.
Ziva, are you thirsty? I got more water.
Blaine stiffened when he heard Zoe's voice. He seemed stunned for a second. He turned around and locked eyes with Zoe. His dark eyes made shivers run down Zoe's back. Blaine's eyes looked black, but she knew they shifted with his mood from various shades of gray to almost black. Her heart was beating wildly. She had thought that she would never be looking into Blaine's eyes again. Zoe was sure her face reflected her emotional upheaval. Blaine seemed remarkably calm by comparison. Blaine's eyes showed his shock only for a moment before returning to normal. It was as if Zoe's sudden appearance hadn't affected him. It had been 4 years. Perhaps he saw her as barely more than a distant memory, now a stranger from his past.
You're Ziva's sister.
That voice. Zoe had always loved Blaine's voice. He could have been a radio host if he hadn't been a surgeon. His voice was deep, rich, and oh so seductive.
Yes, I am her older sister.
Zoe answered, trying to hide the nervousness from her voice. Blaine turned back around to continue examining Ziva.
Your sister may need to stay in the hospital for observation for a few more days.
Okay, thank you.
Zoe politely replied. She tried to sound as cool and calm as Blaine, but Zoe feared she was failing miserably. She walked over to set her coffee down on the side table. Ziva watched her sister curiously.
Zoe, Dr. Blaine Dexter, my attending physician.
Zoe didn't realize how much her hand had been shaking from nervousness until she tried to set her coffee down and hot liquid spilled all over the back of her hand. She silently screamed inside as a burning pain shot through her hand. Zoe quickly hid her hand behind her back as she turned around, but then suddenly she felt a cool touch. It was Blaine, and he was holding Zoe's hand. Zoe's hand was burning up, but it wasn't just the burn on her hand causing Zoe's discomfort, but Blaine's strong fingers wrapped around hers. His touch was cool, but Zoe felt hot and flushed all over. Her entire body had tensed at Blaine's touch. Zoe wanted to break free, but found herself unable to resist his closeness.